Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the David Meade Show on this Wednesday afternoon. I usually do the weather, but the weather will be actually later. I just want to talk about rent control. The price of rent control is limited on the rents that the landlords may change topically called rent control or rent stabilization, eviction control, code flagged standards by which is landlords may terminate a tenancy, obligations on the landlord or tenant regarding adequate maintenance or the property, a system of oversight and enforcement by any independent regulators, ombudsmen, and the loss of terms of rent control is covered a spectrum of regulations which can vary from setting in the absolute amount of rent that can be charged with no allowance increase to place a different limited on the amount that rent can increase. These restrictions may continue between tenancy or may be applied only with duration of a tenancy. As of 2016, at least 14 of the 36 OECD countries have some form of rent control in effect, including 4 states in the United States. So rent regulations is one of the several classes of policies proposed to improve housing affordability alongside of subsidized included vouchers, tax credits, and policies amend the expanding of the housing supply. They are consensus among economists that rent control reduces the quality of the housing unit. So I think, yeah, I mean, if you look up other states like California and New Orleans and all these other places, I think they have rent control. You know what I'm saying? I mean, rent control is a thing. You know what I'm saying? And it has been a thing for a very long time. It's just that the politicians hasn't followed the what do you call it, the followed the law. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, rent control is a thing, and I think we do need rent control here in Massachusetts. That's the law. So that way landlords don't have to get any more what do you call it, allowance increase. So I mean, so rent regulations are one of several classes of policies proposed by improvement of housing and affordability, and alongside subsidize, including vouchers and tax credits, and policies to amend expanding of housing supplies. So I mean, that's it's once you put rent control in the middle of that, in the middle there, what happens is that it just kind of like controls the rent a little bit. You see here, so I mean those are one of the things that today that was on my agenda that I wanted to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So rent control and then the loss of terms of rent control can apply to several types of prices and control. Stricken prices and selling, also known as rent freeze, of the system of a absolute or first generation rent control is which is no increase in rent are allowed at the rent is a typically frozen at that rate. So, in other words, what they mean by frozen at that rate, say you get an apartment, okay, at a price say $500, $550 a month. It stays in that range. There's no increase. The landlords cannot increase any of that. So a price call will create shortage between Q and QD. So vacancies of control is also known as a strict and strong rent control, which is the rental prices can raise but continue to be regulated between tenants, and new tenants paying almost the same rent as the previous tenant, and vacancy, so in other words, if you move out of if you move out of a house and your rent is $500 or $550 a month, it applies with the if I'm correct, it applies to the new tenant. So regulations between the tenant and new tenants pay almost the same rent cost. I mean, yeah, it pays almost the same thing. So I mean, vacancies, the controls are also known as a tenancy second generation rent control, which limits prices to increase during the tenancy, but allows the rent to rise to the market rate between tenancies, and new tenants pay market rate and rents, but increases are limited as long as they remain. So in other words, if this rent control is remains in place, in Massachusetts, because it is the law, landlords are supposed to follow that law. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, they do. They're supposed to follow it because rent control right now is a thing. And and that's what we need right now here in the city of Fall River. So that's what, for everywhere, that's what we need. Because right now, rents are so ridiculous now. And I mean, it's so ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, other states, probably like California, Ohio, somewhere. I think they have rent control over there. I'm not sure. I would have to do some more research on it because I mean it's regulations by countries. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Australia rental regulations have large administrations by the state territory of government rent control and freeze where future of the first second. So Australia has rent control. So Australia's got it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very surprised that Australia has rent control. So Australia, yeah. And let me see here. What about Canada? Let's see what the example for Canada. Main articles for regulations in Canada rent control. In Canada, they rent regulations laws to prevent, for example, Honduras and Residential Tenancies Act in 2016. Regular prices of rent properties do not raise more than 2.5% in each year, and new law figures and fixed by government minister. Wow. Look at China. Okay, China announced in the August of 2021 new nationwide rent regulations to cap the minimum yearly rent increase of 5% in the all urban areas, which is compressed over 3 over the population, included most of the 250 million renters in the country. Oh, look at France. Rent regulations of determines in the France based on the rent reference index, which is services as the base of what your landlord can increase yearly rent by in July of 2022. France introduced a new cap on early rent increase of a maximum of 3.5% for more years. Oh, look at Germany. Germany, the German rent regulations is found in the Civil Code of Berliching. Oh, yeah, this is some kind of Gazette Butch in a 535 to 580 as common of a German law. Regulations are structured into the abstract, more general parts that applies to all contracts of any certain type of, followed by more specific sections to individuals' field of applications of this type of contract. Specific regulations for rental contracts in government apartment ranging from 547, 577 A BGB. The German law different nations between a rental price at the starting point of the contract and rent increase throughout the duration on the contract. Generally, the rental prices at the starting point of this contract is determined by the contractual agreement between the party only designated against with a strained housing market and a rental price at the beginning of the rental agreement are capped by law. Increase in the rental prices throughout the duration of the rental contract are required to follow rental levels in which the database is local reference rent prices. This collection of all rent prices are new rental contracts of the past 4 years, and the landlords may only increase prices on their property in line with the rent in the same localities. Rents are prohibited altogether, so that any price or raise above 20% over the 3 years are unlawful. Tenants may be evicted against their will through a court proceed for a good reason, and in the normal cases of all which a minimum of 3 months notice, tenants receive unlimited duration of their rental agreement unless the duration is especially halted in a price. Landlords have a little incentive to change tenants as rental prices increasing beyond inflation are considering during the prior of the tenancy. A person tenancy may only be terminated for very good reason. A system of right for the rental property to be maintained by the landlord and designed to ensure quality of housing may state, such as Berlin, have a constitutional right to quality housing and requires building to make dwelling spaces for a certain size and selling high. In the 2020, Berlin implemented a rent freeze, which was unprecedented in the German housing market. Its benefits and sitting renters, but it is substantially reduced to the supplies of new housing, harming those looking for dwellings, and the rent freeze was repeatedly in 2020 and 2021. Netherlands, yearly rent increase in the Netherlands are capped as a maximum inflation of 1%, circulated as 3.3% in 2022. In Spain, the Catalanic spin passed a rent regulation law in September of 2022. United Kingdom, one of my favorites. See also the history of rent control in England and Wales and affordability for housing in the United Kingdom. Rent regulations in England as well rented control in Scotland and England, English and lands of law. Wow. Well, even in UK prices in 1975 and 2006. Wow, awesome. They have rent control over there too. Rent regulations has covered the whole of the UK private sector and rental and marketing from 1950 to 1980. However, for the Housing Act in 1980 became the Conservative Party of policies to regulate and dismantle rents regulations. Regulations for all new tenancies was abolished by the Housing Act of 1988, leaving the basic regulatory framework was freedom of contract by the landlord to set the price. Rent regulations survive among a small numbers of council house, and often the rates set by local authorities mirror escalating price in the non-regulated private market. Wow. United States main article, rent control in the United States, rent control in California. I knew I was right. And rent control in New York too. They have all those things going on over there too with rent control. Rent regulations in the United States is an issue for each state. In 1921, the U.S. Supreme Court case of Blocked versus Harsh held by majorities by regulations of the rent in the District Columbia has a temporary emergency measures was the constitutional, but shortly afterwards in the 1924 Chasleton Court versus Singular, and the same law was unanimously struck down by the Supreme Court after the 1930s. The New Deal of the Supreme Court senses and to interfere with the social and economic legislation. Numbers of states adopted rules in the 1986 case, Fisher City, Bronkley, and the U.S. Supreme Court held that there was an accountability between rent control and Sherman Act. Ooh. As the 2018 four states of California, New York, and New Jersey, in the Middlelands, Maryland, and the District of Columbia have locally and which some of form residential rent control is in effect for normal structure, including mobile homes. 37 states either prohibited of prompt rent control, while 9 states allow their cities to enact rent control, but has no city that has implemented for the locals with rent control, and often covers a long percentage of their city stocks of rental units. For example, in some of the largest market in New York City in 2011, 45% rental units were either rent stabilized or rent control. These are different legals and classifications in New York City and the District of Columbia in 2014. Just over 50% of rental units were rent control. In the San Francisco, as of 2014, about 75% of all rental units were rented control. In Los Angeles in 2014, 80% of multifamily units were rent control. In 2019, California passed the statewide rent gap for the next 10 years, which is limited early rent increase in 5% plus original inflation. In 2019, Oregon legislature passed a bill which made the state of the first in the nation to adopt a statewide rent control policy. This new law limited annual rent increase to inflation plus 7%, included vacancies, decontrol market rates between tenancies. Example, new construction for the 5-year and keep the current state ban on local rent control policies. State levels preemptation intact on a 65-1, In November of 2021, voters in St. Paul, Minnesota passed a rent control ballot, incentive which a gap annual rent increase at 3% included vacancies control and did not exempt new construction or nor allow inflation to be added to the allowable rate increase. This was followed by any 80% reduction in requests for new multifamily housing permits, while in a neighboring Minnesota, where voters authorized the city council to craft a rent control ordinance yet to be enacted, which may example new construction from the rent control gap permits were up 68%. Wow. See all references and further readings, example links. I mean, wow, that's well, yeah, well, now, well, rent control is a thing, in Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, California, mobile homes, Columbia, New Jersey, Maryland, California, New York City, New Jersey, Fisher City, and I mean, it's United States. I mean, rent control is a thing. And I think for what I just read here, rent control. I'm going to go further. Um, Connecticut elementary school teacher was arrested. Breaking news. I'll get that later. In the let me see here. Let's see. Affordable housing inequality by public housing, subsidized housing reference. Let me see here. Branko Mark, 20 of February of 2011. Rent is eviction control law. Mark BrandCarlos.com. Achieved from original on 31 March of 20. Received 19 of August of 2008. Pender Kellen, 10 of September of 2016. Rent control is spreading to Bay areas, suburbs, to economists dismay by the San Francisco Chronic, achieved from the original on the 8th of October of 2016, retrieved 18 of August 2018. Wow. So, rent control by state law is on PDF file. National Multifamily Housing Council of 3 of September of 2020, achieved by the PDF from the original on 4 of September 20, return September. I mean, well, yeah, I mean, it's rent control is always been a thing here in Massachusetts, New York City, California, San Francisco, and the urban in the urban housing in 1970 in the urban housing in 1972. So it's always been a thing. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you can get rent control. Anybody can. If anybody's on a rental private rent, I mean they can get rent control. You know what I'm saying? So there's no ifs and buts about it. They just got to go by step by step. You know what I'm saying? So rent control is a thing, and and I never heard of the city council here in Fall River. I never heard the city council or the mayor of the city of Fall River or any mayor, whether it was Jazel, Sam Sutter, or anybody, never mentioned rent control here in the city. So I mean, I think we should bring back the rent control, because of the rents being so high, and people right now that can't really afford the actual rent. So so I mean that I think that my opinion on rent on that is yes. Rent control is should be should be stabilized. For the people that are paying, market rate rent, and so that way, they can have a lock in, but just one one just one. Say if they were paying $550, $575, that or $650, that should be locked in no matter what. Okay. Once the rent is locked in, and once it's locked in, there's no way that they could try to get an increase in rent. I mean, I just looked it up. I mean, some landlords will try to say, hey, I need an increase in rent. I gotta pay my bills too. No, you know what? You say no to them and everything. Say, look, I have rent control. Okay, rent control. It's locked in. I pay one price and one price only. I moved in here at 550 or at 575, and I'm going to continue on paying that 575. So rent control is a thing in Massachusetts. It's the law, okay? And yeah, and landlords are supposed to obey the rent control by law. So I mean, landlords are supposed to. You know what I'm saying? And some landlords will, okay, and some landlords won't. You know what I'm saying? It all depends who you are renting to. So basically. So that's all. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm going to say about rent control. You people want to talk about rent control, we talk about rent control. So we already did talk about rent control, and now the basis on what's going on now on rent control. So now rent control is a thing. It's a thing in New Jersey. It's a thing in New York City, um, Australia, New Jersey, San Francisco, and in the suburbs. So it's a thing. So now rent control is a thing. So now what is going on. So if you want to go apply for rent control, well, you need to go by the certain standards. So I'm gonna look that up right now for you. Right now, let's see. Right now, I'm gonna look that up. Okay, because CPAC was live and it's not live no more. So rent control is the thing. So if you want rent control, go for it, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's your right. It's your constitutional right. You know what I'm saying, to have rent control for you. So I'm gonna look it up right now. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do the weather now. So it's 41, partly cloudy, highs 48, lows 29, partly cloudy. Conditions will continue for the rest of the day. Winds gust up to 25 miles an hour tonight. 40 cloudy on 41. 8 p.m. Cloudy at 40. 9 p.m. Cloudy of 38. 10 p.m. Cloudy of 36. And cloudy of 35 at 11. 12 a.m. 34. 35 at 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. So, I mean, it's 5 p.m., 31, 6 a.m., and sunrise at 6 a.m. in the morning. So that's your weather from today, from the David Meade Show. But the reason why, because a friend of mine asked me about rent control. He wanted me to talk about rent control, and so I talked about rent control. So now you have the inside of rent control. So and I'm going to go and look and see if you guys how can you apply for it, because I think you guys can apply for it. I'm gonna do my research right now. Let's see here. Okay. Massachusetts rent increase laws. Bunch can. A landlord raise rents in 2023. Massachusetts is one of the smallest states in the country, but it has comprehensive real estate market. So suppose you are a renter and your business owner in the state. In the case, it is important to understand that the landlord tenants laws governing the lease of your property. If you are wondering whether your property owner in Massachusetts is allowed to raise rents and what rent control restrictions to apply, keep reading. We have drawn up a guide to help you understand Massachusetts rent control laws. Rent increase in the state of Massachusetts is forbidden in the city and countries from enacting their own rent control legislation and does not impose any rent control regulations. Therefore, landlords are free to set their own rental prices, although they are free to raise the rent to prefer rates. Landlords are not permitted to increase rents while a lease is in effect. At the end of the lease, prior that, are also required to give the tenant 30 days notice before changing rental rates. This allows the renter time to decide whether to accept the price increase or look for another place to live. Rent control city. Massachusetts did not allow forbidden rent control. In fact, until the state underlaw them completely in 1994, reasonable manipulating such as Boston, Brookline, and Cambridge had rent control policies in place. The COVID-19 outbreak brought up this topic again in 2021. Sorry, I didn't want to read that one. As a result of the country rental crisis of numerous cities, and particularly Cambridge, where the rent issue was most serious in Massachusetts, legislators tried to adopt rent control regulations and freeze policies. All of them failed as the state level Massachusetts quickly decided not to review its rent control laws, and tenants advocates that argued in favor of rent control usually wanted to prove renters, which is infident claims on rental properties. However, even these economics express, such as Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, continues to bring up a concept of rent control, even thought most economic opposers is. Legal cases in Massachusetts, landlords are prohibited from increasing rents and midways through a fixed terms lease or specific discriminatory grounds such as race or age as regulations unless expressly permitted by the lease contract. Discrimination in the Federal Fair Housing Act makes it legal for property owners to discriminate against tenants based on their age, race, color, or disability. Family status and religion or sexual orientation. Retaliation. Additionally, in Massachusetts, laws forbidden landlords from raising rents as limitations if a landlord's actions occurs within the 6 month of something that the renter does it regard as a regulatory. Here's how to intense when a rent is increased will be seen in retaliation against a tenant. When the renter is making a complaint to relevant authorities about the health and safety of the renter unit, if he or she created a union tenant association or joined one requesting repairs, proper notice regarding tenants at will. Massachusetts law mandates that landlord provides tenants with at least 30 days of notice before raising rent or a long period of equivalent to the frequency of the rental payment. Suppose the rent is paid every 3 months. In case, the landlord must give the tenant 60-day notice. Moreover, landlords must wait until the coalition of the lease is prior before raising rents. Renters with 1 year lease. Wow. It goes on and on and on. And right now, and I don't have any time to keep, going on and on with this. So, but I will, let me see if I can, but I can actually post this stuff. So I'll post this on Facebook, and you guys, I'll share it later about rents. So I'll share all later. I'm gonna post it on Facebook because I don't want to spend all my time on this. So final thoughts that are important to understand by rent control policies into play in Massachusetts with a booming rental market and create places to set up a rental business, unlikely many other states where local government may impose their own laws. In Massachusetts, no city and towns will rent control laws. If you're looking for ways to improve your efficiency, ways not try door looping or innovative software can help you with a modern task which frees up time for your focus on growing your rental business. All right, so that's it for the rent control right now. And I, when I get time, I will post this stuff up on Facebook, and you guys can decide from there. What's best for you. So rent control is the thing. You got to call your legislator. You got to call your mayor. You got if you live in the New Bedford area, you got to get in touch, with your mayor, and let him know that I already posted rent control laws guide. So you guys want to actually see this, you can take a look at it. I'm going to send it to my brother Brian Patello, and everybody. So that way, rent control is a thing in Fall River. So for everybody, even for my cousin, my family too. So rent control is a thing. So if you want rent control, I don't know how to, I'll try to figure it out for you. How to, how you can go about filling out a application for rent control and stuff. I think you have to talk to your landlord about that. Rent control is a thing in Massachusetts. So it is. It's a thing, and there is your answer right there. So there is your answer. So good luck with that. And I hope you guys I hope you guys, find a way to, to get rent control here in the city, and the city of Fall River. Francis got it. You know what I'm saying? So Francis got it. San Francisco's got it. New Jersey, New York City's got it. Australia, and some of the other places, other cities and towns and stuff that have it. So, and I also want to. So I'm going to. There's quite a few other things here today I want to actually talk about. New Bedford mother's daughter is due to decorate their Christmas. Okay, cool. I mean that's wonderful. I think that's a good thing. Mother and daughter, they're putting up an early tree. So but as I as I'm looking through here, I found some things that I want to actually read. So I'm gonna go find them. I'm gonna go on my private message. Let me see. So I'm gonna go on my private message and I'm gonna find it. So so that way I ID. Let's see. Let's see here. Okay. I know I got some stuff here. I need to, to read out. It take 2 seconds to share. A Florida deputy are searching for a 9-year-old LME Azure. Wow, beautiful name. Who they say took her. So there's a search on the way for a missing 9-year-old girl, Florida girl, who disappeared while walking. So again, we have these discussions about little like Fox News 35 Orlando is reported this. So this is local news. So again, this is the David Meade Show, conservative, America First. So this is what we do. Search is on the way for a missing 9-year-old Florida girl who disappeared while walking. So why would somebody, okay? Let me see here. Let's see if I think the picture will actually show. I don't know, but this is the little girl right here. She disappeared while walking. Okay, so why would why would somebody take a little girl walking? Okay, so that would that's not funny. That's pretty sad. Uh, you know, so I hope whoever took this little girl, and I hope they find her. I will be covering I would be covering this right now. The investigation is on the way, so I know that later on they will put up more updates as it will, as the information comes in. So right now, it's on the way. Investigation is on the way for a 9-year-old Florida little girl that disappeared while walking, and that's awful. Okay. That's somebody's daughter, you know what I'm saying? Somebody's little girl, you know what I'm saying? That they're probably home crying, screaming, and everything else and stuff. Yeah, it's hot. It's hot. It's my heart is pounding right now over it. So, So I'll keep on that story as that as the investigation starts. You know what I'm saying? So just like the Fairhaven girl, the Haven woman, the Fairhaven 43-year-old, they did find her, and again, I want to congratulate the drones and the Dartmouth Police Department, the state police, every local law enforcement that they used every resource to actually find this woman, and they found this woman alive. So congratulations, and thank you to the state police, and thank you all for your service. The drones help too. The drones help. To go over the Coast Guard person in custody in the connection with the February 26th shooting at the let me see here in Massachusetts. So that he's the second suspect was arrested in connection with the Ox Bar Grill shooting, so that's a breaking news. So I don't know what's going to go on with that case. So there he is right there. He's the man right there. That's the second shooter that we have here in the right here in the photo right here. So he's the second guy, the second shooter. So he's the second shooter. So I will keep you updated on that too, as well as the little girl, that was as the little girl that's missing here, and that's missing. So I mean, it's CPAC was live today, but I'm not going to get into that. Like to post attention where you will be doing. Okay, thank you, Nick. Nick Stone, one of my favorites. Nick Conway dumps internet, which is a fake who's having my baby game show. Wow, awesome. Wrestling is still a thing, and with well, back in the day here, long ago in a land far, far away. Hey, gas unleaded was 48 cents, 49 cents for premium back in them days, man. I mean, and we have to, bring back, okay, Henry County attorney accused of assault a man in court. So Henry County lawyer was charged with assaulting an individual during a court proceeding on Monday, which was yesterday.
Food.
Okay, so which was yesterday. So I mean that was that was something. I mean and then Henry County, Tennessee, where Henry County lawyer was charged with assault an individual during the court proceedings on Monday. In Tennessee, Bureau investigation by TB says, "Wow, awesome, huh?" Henry County grand jury indicted Anthony with a one-count of simple assault. He was cited into the circuit court Tuesday. Well, I mean, yeah, he would lose his law license for being stupid. You know what I'm saying? So ridiculous. I mean, what else is new? Police, a 2-year-old died after being left in a car for hours in Florida. Fatal arrest. So sad, a 2-year-old died after being left in a car several hours in Florida, according to the authorities. So, if you're in Florida, okay, and you have a 90-degree weather out there in Florida, usually Florida is pretty, heavy on their, the sun out there is pretty heavy out there. So, I mean, sometimes it could be 100 degrees over there. Sometimes it could be 90. Sometimes it could be 110 in Florida. So, I mean, but the thing is, you know, you don't leave a 2-year-old in a car and those kind of weather conditions because, you can sweat, you can, I mean, you can sweat and everything, and I mean, you can die from it. You know what I'm saying, and especially if you have the windows up, no air conditioning inside the car. Sometimes you can, have a breathing problem. You know what I'm saying? I mean, those things, man. I mean, if you're gonna go somewhere, take your kid with you. You never leave a 2-year-old inside the car. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let everybody know, okay? If you see a 2-year-old in the parking lot in a car by themselves, okay, you call the police. You call the police and you stay right there with the child. And when the police comes, you let them know and say, "Hey, I saw these kids, these grown-ups. They left. They left the 2-year-old in the car. So I had to do something. I had to act on this. So please, so keep it in mind. You know what I'm saying? If you see a 2-year-old in the car by himself, you know what? Act quick right away. Call the police because that kid could be in danger or something. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, at that point. So, I mean, if the windows are up and you can't get in the car, I mean, you have the right to, you have the right, to break the window and go and save that kid. So you have that right. Um, I mean, with that being said, awesome. This is pretty. I mean, this is pretty much well said over here. So, I mean, I'm not going to get into that because I got a lot of things to do today. Because I can't get them done tomorrow because of the, I have to go to New Bedford in the morning, so, or in the afternoon, and I don't know what time I'm being back. So, revenue and Tower Street, residents is feeling negligence to 4 months have a train derailment. So there was a there was a train there was a train derailment. Oh my, still more old work and hanging to clean up there by the EPA disaster happening, and then the NSA conductor gets killed while working, and still another derailment of has and is a poor railroad companies overgone making any money. Geesh. When it rains, it pours. It's really thought to make living now a day sure. Wow. Another derailment and right in somebody's backyard. Wonderful. Awesome. Imagine that, having a train coming in your backyard. Choo choo. And those kind of things. Catholic wrestling. Vince McMahon potentially turns ahead at this past week on WWE Raw as he spotted in brand new Mustang. Let me see here. That has been compared for Gamish Adam. It was reported that he was backstage visiting John Cena. Why would John Cena want anything to do with him? I don't get it. I mean, he's a cheater. Parents sued after a toddler dies from fentanyl. Wow. That was another breaking news that was just out there. I'll take a look at that in a little bit. So I'm going to get to everything here. Recent reports by new ranking of the cheapest and most expensive airport. Wow. Specify making updates with internally new home feed. So let me see here. Ask Amy, suspicious of a 26-year-old dating my 62-year-old brother. Wow. Yeah. Inside scoop. Inside Priscilla Presley and a rally and a fight over listen more trust and do not. Yeah, well, Robert Dixon. Okay, yes. Well, I mean, anybody know this guy? I mean, this guy here, I mean, he's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. You know, this guy's been in jail for for something that he never done. So I mean, I'm calling for his immediate release. His immediate release. So we don't even know if he's FBI. We don't even know if he's a covert op. We don't know these things. So that's so far what we know about him. You know what I'm saying? And but we're calling for his immediate release. So please, immediate release. You know what I'm saying? So we're calling for his immediate release, and that's it. So let me see what else is going on here in the. Wow. To release the further videos of order reports by personal files by city, Minnesota employees will be delayed, and also, wow, a lot of things. Duran Wade, Snoop, Twitch, Sophie's with his daughter Zen before a winter storm. Wow. I remember all these guys right here. This is wrestling, man. I remember all these guys over here, man. I remember all of them. I do. I have. I have remembered. Paul Heumann says Jimmy is one who will take care of a semi problem. And he says Jimmy will be the only make sure. Okay. Bristol County, Pennsill County woman. Yes, I am. And woman cannot cash refund checks, the sense of her husband's name. I wonder why. Wow. So, okay, yes. Bridge over Treble Water 40th Anniversary Trailer International Version. I like, I'm reading some of these things. It's awesome. And I remember this one too. McCall there, when McCall is almost killed by her old partner after she tried to stop him from a killer from higher assignments. Wow. And McCall. This is an awesome police story, man. I watch that all the time. That is really awesome. They're on Netflix. So, and big news for veterans. State approval granted coverage. So the veterans and stuff and coverage that they need. So, but okay, but that's all I have for now. And just want to let you know that there won't be a show Thursday because I did it today. Oh wait, Funko plans to get rid of at least 30 million worth of products. So that's this right here. So 30 million worth of products will be that right there. So look that up. Yeah. And the 87,500. Tom Brady's not going to retire anytime soon because he says he's not. So he's going to continue on playing football. So that is a breaking news. Officials identified New Bedford peer killer in the Freetown crash. Good, good. Bristol County District Attorney's Office says that the peer killer was crashed on Route 114, Freetown, Tuesday. Was 54-year-old Joseph Emers and 70-year-old Marvell Delman of New Bedford. Oh, nice. Okay, they just found they when he made the crash, he's a killer. So but thanks. Cleveland Walkinson's in custody from the death was Principal Kentucky arrested video show. Good. I mean, but that's all I got for today, and I don't want to get into too much tonight because I only had a few notes that was ready. So that's my 8 o'clock. So I want to thank everybody for watching, and I'll be on Friday. Friday night at 7 p.m. on the David Meade Show for more exclusives, weather, sports, wrestling, baseball, whatever you want to hear, I got it all. So take care, everybody. Have a great night, and I'll see you Friday night at 7 p.m. So take care, everybody.